On July 26, Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinling, then Premier of the Bahamas, delivered this speech during an inspection tour at the official opening ceremony of the new Bahamas oil refinery, Borco. This speech in history has been called the bend or break speech. There are many people in the Bahamas who are a participant in an interest in the economic development of the Bahamas. Not all of them, however, are cognizant of or interested in the economy and social welfare of Bahamian people. Far too few acknowledge, and fewer still accept the fact that development must be shaped to fit the human and social needs of the country where it takes place. Far too many here adopt the attitude that they are guaranteed rights to make money, and that is all that matters. Freeport has indeed been a miracle of economic development. It has indeed been a shining example of financial wizardry. What it lacks is humanity. What it needs is a social conscience. What it must have before too long is a soul. I have always been concerned about the lack of soul in Freeport, the absence of honest concern for human and social needs of people. I was so concerned in the day when I stood alone. I had hope that an early change would have been evident by now, but I have been severely disappointed. It's been a fundamental part of my basic political philosophy that people are more important than things. Men are more important than machines. In this city, regrettably, almost anything goes. Promisingly, some economic opportunities have come to Bahamians. Bahamians are nevertheless still the victim of an unbending society order which it refuses to bend must now be broken. It is abundantly clear that the developers in this area, people do not matter. For instance, one set of developers have built a system of canals surrounding the Bahamian community. Traditionally, the area had fresh water with ample supply local needs, but the canals have apparently breached the freshwater lens. Groundwater in that area is now soiled. There is no way that the water lens can be repaired. Since ancient water rights have been disturbed, pipe water should be supplied to the area. It should be supplied to the local public free of charge. There should only be charged in the event of a house being connected to the main supply. Since the surrounding canals were dug, what was once a swash of sawgrass, the land had to be built up over the high water mark. The traditional community, which now lies between the high sand ridge and the ocean front, that the new highland built between the canals is a pawn whenever there is heavy rain. The most serious aspect of the socio-economic life in Freeport, the appalling situation now prevailing in housing. Freeport is a well-planned city. So well-planned, in fact, that it appears that it was intended to plan the Bahamian right out of it. I had very much hope that the events of the last few years would have been sufficient to impress the developers, apartment owners, real estate agents, that I could not stand idly by and watch the heavily economic success spring up in Freeport and ghettos develop around it. I had very much hope that serious steps would have been taken to solve the long-standing problem of housing for Bahamians here. But these hopes have been dashed to the ground. Ever since the representatives of Grand Bahama reported to me in February last the Matson incident, I have been quietly investigating the housing situation here. The recent complaints against Drummond Realtor International Limited and Graham Associates, and I had no doubt that the reports in each case was substantially correct. It appears all too clearly that the house and apartment owners give instructions to agents not to sell or rent to dark Bahamians. Rents in Freeport are kept artificially high to outprice the ordinary Bahamian, and that agents voluntarily are going along with this vicious game. Those of you who have substantial investment in Freeport or approve of this state of affairs, I cannot believe that those of you who are decent and honorable will allow fly-by-night, get-rich-quick speculators to spoil the whole barrel of sound apples. I cannot any longer take anybody's word that they are going to do something about it. I will have to do something about it. I am told that there are many empty apartments in Freeport. If that is so, let us see how long they will remain empty. If the law of supply and demand operates in the rental business here, then the prices should soon come down and be within the reach of ordinary Bahamian. The tragedy is, of course, the building boom was not really intended to take account of the housing need of the ordinary Bahamian in Freeport. The question of desirably or undesirably of the companies, owners, and agents involved is now a material part of the investigation, which will be concluded soon. Builders, investors are to know that they should not build if they do not wish their apartments rented to black Bahamians. Agents are to know that from today, that any such instructions from owners are inoperable. And everyone should know from today that anyone who does so is a persona non grata as far as this country is concerned and can play no useful part here. I cannot help but feel that if there were more Bahamian engaged in the real estate business, most of this foolishness would have ended long ago. This might well mean that the apartment builders' figures might be less speculatory, but it will certainly mean a reduction in the chance of any explosion. Any area of discrimination here in the entertainment field. When they came to Freeport, everyone looked for Bahamian music and entertainment, but the proprietors have placed for entertainment have other ideas. There are indications that some places want particular kind of bands because they wish to create a certain atmosphere. That might well be true. And this because I have already a clause in a license whereby a store cannot hire anybody, which indicates if they didn't Northern European features. Let the words go forth. That contracts clauses like that, it refuses to bend, must now be broken.